Welcome back to the Office Dynasty League podcast. This is your host, John, with my co-host, Mac. Say hi to the people, Mac.
Hello.
We just wanted to start off by saying we are so incredibly grateful for all the positive feedback we got on episode 1. We really enjoyed doing it, and it was really gratifying to just hear how much people enjoyed listening to it. So we just wanted to say thank you, and one more time for the people in the back, thank you. We look forward to doing this every single week, and we think we got a pretty good one for you today.
Yeah, and for those of you who did not listen, YouTube counts the views.
Ooh.
So unless somebody watched it twice, which seems unlikely, but maybe you really liked it that much, assuming that didn't happen, we know how many of you did not watch. And that's okay, but just know, we know.
We know, and we will find you. So, this week we have only 2 segments for you, but I think they're both kind of gold. So we have a trade idea for every single team. And then Mac and I have maybe a little bit of an interesting conversation on the ethics of sports betting on a fantasy league that you're in. So absolutely no conflicts of interest there. So, Mac, do you have anything to add?
No, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's jump right in. 3 segments. We are going to recommend a trade for everyone. Now, this might be the last time we do this. This might be the first time we do this of like every other podcast. But we think that we have come up with some genuinely even trades that if we put ourselves in the shoes of either owner, we would accept these trades. Now, it's borderline impossible to come up with something that's truly even without starting to throw in like, and I give you 2/3 and you give me 3/4 and 4/5. So we're going to cut out some of the minutia of like, I maybe like slightly prefer this side. But we have pitched these to each other very briefly before we started, or at least Mac pitched me his. And we're just going to talk about them. So if you guys think we're dumb, tell us in the group chat. It's okay. But if you actually like this trade, hey, maybe just propose it to the other person. And if they don't like it, you can blame us.
We're going to call this segment Who Says No?
Who says no?
Because John's going to pitch a trade and I'm going to tell him
who
says no.
Ooh.
Or maybe no one says no. We'll see.
So incredibly even that no one could possibly say no. All right, I'm going to start. And I'm going to build up to my big one because I've got a big one. But I'm going to start by pitching Evan and Tyler. Now, my reasoning here is Evan's roster is awesome. He literally just won the title. However, it's old.
It's
very old. And so I think that when you just won a title, you have room to take a little bit of a step back as far as talent goes to take a step forward in longevity. And so I'm pitching a youth trade on Evan's side for some players that are in no way proven, but if they hit, he's going to be great for a while. And on the Tyler end of this, he just wants to be competitive, and he has enough bench guys that are coming up that he has a little bit of a chance to justify maybe trading for some older horses. So I'm pitching Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, and a second-round pick in exchange for Amarian Hampton and Ricky Pearsall.
Okay, so Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill.
And Evans' 2027 second-round pick.
Okay. For Hampton.
And Ricky Pearsall. Who says no?
Who says no? Man, I think that's interesting. I think Tyler says no.
Okay.
And those are awesome assets, but I think Tyler, Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill, like you could instantly just vault maybe quite a bit in just as far as this year's prospects. But I think Tyler's pretty happy with his roster for now. I think he thinks it can compete. I don't know if others feel that same way.
Sure.
But I think Tyler's worked really hard. Like I think Tyler recently.
In the last 2 years.
Yeah, within the last 2 years, he traded Kelsey, he traded Derrick Henry, he traded another aging asset.
Sure.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I think because he felt, okay, I've got to get younger. I think this trade's sort of like
undoes that.
And I don't know if he wants to do that.
You could be right.
I think if Tyler had been in a position where he's been irrelevant for a long time and he just really wants to like break through this year. I mean, he hasn't won a playoff matchup. We've talked about that plenty. I think if he wanted to like break through this year and kind of take a risk, I think he would do that. I think you could do that. I just don't think he'll want to kind of reset what he's done. I think he's really liked what he's done as far as getting younger and being in a position to compete. So I think Tyler would say no, but I do like it. I don't know. Evan might say no too. I think he wants to run it back one more year.
Yeah, well, and that was kind of my thought here is like, honestly, I see a lot of reason for both of these teams to say no, which is the sign of an even trade.
Yeah.
But on the other end of things, if for Evan, Hampton ends up hitting as a running back 1, and Pearsall ends up hitting as like even an RB2 or an RB3 or a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 3, his roster just like the window extends like 4 years.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good trade. I think it's good. I mean, and Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill could be themselves for another 2 years.
That's
for
so
3
true.
years. Like, I mean, who knows? But
I'm done predicting the end of Derrick Henry.
I know.
It's just not coming.
It's a losing game. He's just yeah. I think Tyler says no only because he's just going back. He would just be undoing what he's done.
Sure.
But anyway, that's really interesting though. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the next one.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
alternate here. This is definitely my smallest trade, so we'll start with smallest first. This is between Dallas and Ethan. And this is such a simple trade. I don't know if they'll do it, but I feel like it just makes sense. So Dallas's team, young, we talked about in last episode. He's got a lot of rookies on his team. Mm-hmm. He's rebuilding. He's got Patrick Mahomes. Okay, really good quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he fits the timeline, really. I mean, he'll be good a long time. But like, I think that might be a better quarterback for a team wanting to win this year. Like, I just don't know what Patrick Mahomes is really doing on Dallas's team. I mean, quarterback's not he doesn't matter a ton. But anyway, so Dallas, that's his position. And then Ethan's team, I think Ethan's competing this year. I think he wants to make the playoffs. He wants to contend. His quarterback's Caleb Williams, right? So Caleb Williams could be awesome next year. We've already talked about it this episode. He could be awesome, but he might not be legit. He might not be the real deal. And I think on Ethan's roster, if Caleb Williams doesn't work out, I think quarterback could actually be like a really
hard to answer question.
Yeah, I mean, he could trade for one, I suppose, but what's he got to give up to get him? So I feel like these quarterbacks should switch. So I do think Patrick Mahomes still has more long-term value. He's still young enough. So I've got Dallas sending Patrick Mahomes to Ethan for Caleb Williams and a 2027 third-round pick.
Sure.
Who says no?
It's interesting. A 2027 third is one of those where it's so far out and so middle of the pack, I can't tell what its value is. That's only 2 drafts away. That's crazy. Time's weird. But it's hard to factor that in. I think I'm going to say Dallas says no to that because quarterback is such a long value. Like, Patrick Mahomes is what, 28, 29?
Something like that.
The idea is, like, he's going to be around where he is until, like, mid-30s, at least. And so, if he ends up being, like, a Tom Brady kind of timeline, you've got, like, 17 more years of this, which would be just nuts and oppressive to the league. But I would rather have the asset where it's, like, by the time I'm competing again, Patrick Mahomes is going to be about what he is right now. Because Dallas's rebuild is not going to be 10 years.
Do you want what Patrick Mahomes is right now?
I kind of do over the wild card of Caleb Williams.
Man, I don't know. I just feel like at this point, Caleb Williams might have higher upside next year.
He absolutely has higher upside. I mean, just with the situation around him, again, someone's always going to be open. But, Patrick Mahomes is just proven.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just he's trending down is the only thing. It's
too much.
He's gotten worse every year the last 3 years. Last year was rough.
That's fair. And
he was not good last year.
From a fantasy perspective, this might be more valid. But I've just spent so much time betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's fair. So
I'm going to say Dallas says no. But that's a good one.
All right.
My next one. This is for you, Mac.
Okay.
This is a big swing. This is you and Adrian.
This isn't even your big trade, right?
This is not my biggest trade.
Oh, man.
All three of mine were kind of heavy hitters. But for Mac and Adrian, I think Adrian's roster is in kind of a hard spot because if you look through it, the top of the roster is so stupid good. Like, his top 3 players probably roughly compete with most teams' top 3 players, if not exceeds them.
Is that
Bijan? That's Trey McBride and Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
That's a really good top 3.
Yeah.
Who's his 4th player? As far as a fantasy asset?
Romeo Dobbs.
It's like Quinshon Judkins.
That's not possible.
That's his 4th best fantasy asset player.
Man, okay.
So I think we are just entirely formally at a place where it's like, do something to accelerate this rebuild. And so I'm going to say that Adrian trades the young Xavier Worthy to you, Mac, for Will's 26 first and Tyler's 26 first. And my justification for doing this is, yes, Adrian's trading a young, good player, but he is getting what I think most people would guess are 2 top 6 picks. And he is getting players that will help him be better faster than Xavier Worthy will on his own. And in exchange, you are dumping off players that might pan out in the future. As good as those picks might be, they are still lottery tickets for proven good talent right now at probably your thinnest position.
Okay. This one's easy for me because I can speak for myself. I say no.
Oh, boy.
It's a big no. Sorry, John. For me, it's a big no. It just doesn't fit my timeline.
Okay.
So essentially, so my plan is to stay a contender for as long as I can.
Okay.
And right now, I don't need Xavier Worthy, I guess is my thought.
Okay.
Would I like him? Sure. But, I don't even, I've got the wide receiver position anchored. He'd probably be a flex for me. But I want those firsts, because there's one in 26 and one in 27. I want those firsts to sort of basically replace potentially Kamara falling off, replace Josh Jacobs falling off, replace Tony Pollard or George Kittle.
Sure.
I think if I've tried to time it so that when my the old guard retires, I've got people coming in to replace him. So Xavier Worthy would potentially replace as a flex, a wide receiver, or could replace one of my old aging running backs as a guy who could start. But I don't need to do that right now. I think I'm settled. So I think Xavier Worthy doesn't really vault me. I don't think he changes my current situation. So I would want to hang on to those and maybe wait until I need to trade them, or then I can use them to replace guys that are, gone.
Sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Xavier Worthy's going to get 2 firsts. I think 1 first. 1 first, I'd probably maybe. I'd consider.
Not to dig my heels in on it, but the thought is if you use one of those first to get essentially Xavier Worthy in this next draft, it was a well-used pick.
Sure.
So
that's fair.
You're cashing in, let's say, Tyler's first.
Tyler's first, I do.
Well, you're cashing in Tyler's first for the assurance that Will's first turns into an Xavier Worthy player. Was kind of my thought process.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think there's a real chance one of these is top 4. They may both make the playoffs, but
sure.
I'm hoping one of them is top 4, and one of them's top 4.
It's a no.
It's a big no.
Yeah. That's fair. And I can't speak to the quality of this next year's draft. I haven't really looked into it, but traditionally the top 4 picks in every single draft are worthwhile. So that's fair.
Yeah, top 4s. There's some that miss, but all right. So my next pick, I should say, is between Matt and Will. Okay, so Will is obviously incentivized to win this year. He doesn't have his first next year. He's got a really good team. He's got really young assets. He's incentivized to win, and he's all in. I think he's all in this year. He has Jordan Addison on his team. Great fantasy asset. Long term, he'll be a stud. But this year, not great, right? I mean,
especially with the suspension.
He's got the 6-game suspension, so you're missing half of the fantasy regular season, which I think Will kind of needs. I mean, it's a tight playoff race. He needs all the help he can get. And then just J.J. McCarthy being quarterback, it's just a little weird.
Yeah.
Missing 6 games, then he's going to have J.J. McCarthy. Just a little shaky. I don't think Jordan Addison, great player, I don't think he quite matches what Will's trying to do this year.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Jordan, he just has he's just got an embarrassment of riches, right? But I think a guy like Jordan Addison could be really good for him as somebody he doesn't really need this year.
Sure.
But you can build for the future, like another young, great wide receiver, but with question marks, right? But for Matt, like he's not banking on him, So I have Will sending Jordan Addison to Matt for Isaiah Pacheco, Jerome Ford, a 27 second-round pick, and a 26 third-round pick. Now, I know you could argue, that's just a bunch of smaller assets for Jordan Addison, and it is, but Will is a little light at running back. That's definitely his weakest position. If you bring in Pacheco and Jerome Ford, both of those guys, are starting week 1. Like, Jerome Ford
theoretically
is projected, they should be starting week 1. With Judkins' uncertainty, and there's not a whole lot of, Dylan Sampson's on the roster, but Jerome Ford should have the backfield pretty big share of it.
Sure.
And then Pacheco, and people are really out on Pacheco, but he's going to be the Chiefs starting running back. He just is. And then you get a couple picks. Will has almost used all of his picks. He doesn't have a lot of draft capital left. He can get a second and a third coming in. It's definitely he's trading for depth, but I really think this trade helps him now and helps his team compete better this year, and it gives some draft capital for the future. A second is a pretty decent asset. So
sure.
Who says no?
That's tough. I'm gonna say, let's be clear.
The answer could be no one.
Matt has no reason to say no to that because, again, he has so many assets that consolidating just almost always makes sense. So it's either Will or no one. And I'm going to say it's Will because I am not, like the masses, I'm not a big believer in Pacheco. I think that there's a very high chance that he is the starting running back this year, and that's just kind of it. Next year the Chiefs throw a second-round pick or a third-round pick at a running back, and it's like, hey, that was a cool one season, but that was it. And then you're talking about, Jerome, as soon as they sign Judkins, Jerome Ford is probably not.
Jerome Ford's definitely just kind of hope you get something out of him.
So there's a very real chance where we're looking at this and we're saying, you traded Jordan Addison for a second and a third?
It kind of depends on how Will's season goes.
Yeah. And I don't know, because if you're looking at that from a draft capital perspective, it's like if you want to just kick into the future, you can probably get more than a second and third. But I would probably not take the risk if I were Will. I would eat the risk of that suspension and just say, we're going to pray that we survive these couple weeks and go from there. That's close, though. If Will really does want to make a legitimately serious playoff push, I would consider that. So, all right, my last one. This is another Adrian trade. This is my biggest trade I've got. This is for Adrian and Caleb. This is Bijan Robinson. I feel like everyone saw this coming. This was actually the player on the team that spurred this idea for us, or at least for me, is Adrian's roster is just not going anywhere as it's currently constructed. It's just not. And he is sitting there with the scarcest position in fantasy football, with potentially, very realistically, RB1 going into this next season, at the position that has the shortest lifespan. Bijan has proven that he's elite. He has proven that he can and should be a top 3 to 5 pick in a redraft league, and he is at the most value he's ever going to have right now, because he's going into season 3. This is the time to trade Bijan Robinson. Not only is he elite, an elite prospect, he's proven to be an elite NFL talent, and he has done good stuff. if you have Bijan Robinson right now and you have Adrian's kind of roster, there's no reason to keep him because there's no reason your team will be competitive in Bijan's prime. If I'm Adrian, I'm trading Bijan Robinson to Caleb for Nico Collins, Colston Loveland, my 2026 second-round pick, and Caleb's 2026 second-round pick. What this is doing is Caleb is taking a silver medal roster, consolidating some assets, one starter, into Bijan Robinson, a top 5 fantasy asset, a top 5 dynasty fantasy asset. And on top of that, so he's making that move. Adrian is getting a top 10 wide receiver. He is getting potentially his starting tight end of a starting caliber tight end. He has Trey Benson. But if Colston Loveland ends up being like a solid tight end in the NFL, he now has another scarce position that he can kind of coin off. Or he can trade Trey Benson for a couple of firsts, start Colston Loveland, and re-kick that rebuild again.
You mean Trey McBride?
I sure do. Thank you very much.
Yep.
But he could trade Trey McBride and get a couple more firsts and really accelerate this process. And then on top of that, he gets 2 second-round picks to just, like, please use them on players that, like, should start for you. So, basically, it's Bijan for Nico Collins and then 3 pieces that are going to help you rebuild.
Who says no?
Who says no?
This one's good, John. This one's really good. I wish mine was this good. Sorry. All right.
Back off.
Man. You know? Okay. So I think Caleb does this. We know I think Caleb takes this trade. I know he loves Nico. But like Bijan's just like Bijan's so okay. I don't think Caleb says no. I think Caleb takes that. But that's a haul for sure. I think Adrian takes it. This might be the first there is no.
Ooh.
But I think Adrian should shop Bijan first.
I agree.
And if Bijan, I think there's a decent chance he gets a better offer than this.
Sure.
But I think you've sold me on Adrian selling Bijan. I think it's the right call for him. I think he should do it. It's just what's the best offer. If this is an offer, I think he takes it.
Well, I think that's really kind of the tripping point for Adrian is he kind of got roasted relentlessly for taking trades that in the long run really weren't as bad as originally advertised. And I think he has just moved himself into this mindset of like, I will not trade Bijan. There's no trade I will take for Bijan Robinson because I'm going to get roasted no matter what I do.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I don't know. But I think assuming that there's not a better offer on the table, which is questionable, it might be.
Sure.
Assuming there's not a better offer, I think he should take that. I'm going to say. So, yeah, contingent.
Woo.
No one says no. I like that.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
All right, last trade. I have saved John for last. I'm a little nervous about what he says about this. Because there are some players in this trade that are, I would say, controversial as far as how people view them. But John has Tyler Warren. He's a not Tyler Warren. John has Warren. What's his first name? I just totally blanked. Jalen Warren.
Yes.
You have Jalen Warren. You are a Jalen Warren believer. I get that. He appears to be going to get an increased workload this year. But there's a Jalen Warren problem. What's the Jalen Warren problem?
Caleb
Johnson. Yes, right? So it feels like those two players should be on the same team. So, John, you have a running back issue if Jalen Warren does not turn out to be
a
starter in Pittsburgh. I mean, you got Achane, and after that, I don't know.
And here's something you may not know. You actually do have to start 2 running backs.
You do have to start 2 running backs. This is true. So my thought is, Achane, assuming he doesn't get hurt, you're locked. Great. But this Pittsburgh situation, you need both of those guys. If you've got both of them, you feel pretty good about having a starter each week. So I think you need to trade for Caleb Johnson. Tyler, on the other hand, I know he likes him. I know he's high on him, so we'll see. There's a lot to like. I know Tyler's all in on Caleb Johnson and all out on Jalen Warren. I get it. But, I mean, I think there is a real possibility. We don't really know how this backfield's going to shake out. So, Tyler doesn't really need Caleb Johnson, I don't think. Like, if he does well, it's like cool. It's like gravy. I don't think he needs him. So I think he can trade him for some maybe higher upside future assets. So I have John Sinding, Kyle Pitts. I don't think he'll ever do that, but he should. Kyle Pitts, a 2027 second round pick. I know he's trading more draft capital, but he's got to extend the championship window as far as he can for these three studs. That's my opinion. And then Cedric Tillman, and I included Cedric Tillman because I know Tyler is one of the few people on this earth who believes in Cedric Tillman. So Kyle Pitts, a 2027 second, and Cedric Tillman for Caleb Johnson. Who says no?
Now, I want to add some context to this. We got dinner before this, and in the car ride back from that, Mac adamantly, he just pitched them real quick. We didn't have any conversation about them, or at least we weren't supposed to. And Mac adamantly told me, I know for a fact you're going to say no to this. I know for a fact you're going to say no to this. And every part of my brain was like, do not say something. Save this reaction for the podcast. I would take that trade. I would take that trade. Okay. Now, it's me trading depth and me trading picks, which are probably two things I shouldn't do at this point. But for the certainty of having, maybe not certainty, because it could still end up being like a two-headed backfield situation where it's like neither of them are great. For the certainty of having a running back two, that's worth it. Giving up on the guy I believed in more than any other at one point. Cedric Tillman, I think I'm in the Tyler camp of like, I think he's going to be fantasy relevant. And a second round pick, I would do that trade. So in the instance that I would do that trade and Tyler is incredibly high on him, I have a feeling that the trade that will actually come in from Tyler is something like Caleb Johnson for those things and a first round pick instead of the second round pick. But I would say Tyler, I'm not going to say that Tyler will say no. I would say Tyler would have to say no for that trade to not go through.
It's tough because I feel like Tyler, I thought Tyler might say no. But the thing is, Caleb Johnson was pick number 9 in a weak draft.
Yeah.
Like a very shallow, weak draft. So you're looking at a second round pick, could be 20, could be 11. But like, so I mean, you're moving back probably 6 to 7 spots in theory. It's a future asset. But I mean, Caleb Johnson, I mean, it's exciting. He could be really good. But I mean, he's number 9 in a weak draft. And you're getting Pitts and Tillman as basically the cost of... I don't know. Yeah. I think he should consider it. I don't know. But it sounds like... So you're saying Tyler says no.
I'm saying Tyler would have to say no.
He would have to say no.
He would have to say no for that trade to not happen.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But do you think he will?
We're going to find out after this podcast, and I send this one over to him.
Maybe we get the ball rolling. Maybe we get the ball rolling.
He starts thinking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do any more than that.
That's pretty fair.
But that is probably the point where I would say, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this has been fun. Like, these good ideas. Maybe a real life trade will come out from this.
Now, we do have to add the caveat that deep within the bylaws, it is stated that if it's mentioned on a podcast ahead of time, you do have to send both of us a 5th round pick.
No, they can keep it. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with, I don't know, take some guy I've never heard of. No. I'm not taking Shador for the 5th time or whatever. No thanks.
Just starts talking really fast at the end where it's like, trade considerations must be sent to a 5th round pick.
Yeah, we'll have the disclaimers at the end.
All right. Well, let's transition over to Mac's betting corner then.
All right. So for our final segment today, as per usual, we're going to do Mac's betting corner. So I was kind of thinking about what odds I wanted to add in, and I was thinking about trying to track all the bets that I've actually taken. I think Evan bet on Ethan making the playoffs, and then somebody was kicking around the idea of betting and could miss the playoffs, which I'm excited. That means it's a good line if there's people on both sides of it.
Sure.
But then I was thinking, okay, I think we've got a big problem here. And that is, it came to mind as I was coming up with trade ideas, because I thought, man, Evan bet on Ethan to make the playoffs. And I thought, that's a conflict of interest, right? Like, 100%. That's an issue. If Evan has money on Ethan making the playoffs, not saying Evan would do anything, but I mean, this opens up a can of worms of like, okay, now we have this meta where we're betting on other teams to make or miss the playoffs, and I think like this is a problem. So I think it'd be fun to have a discussion on like from like a moral, ethical point of view, like what should we be betting on in this league, and what could cause problems, and what will be okay, and where what's acceptable, and
Right.
what are your thoughts on all this?
You've seen The Big Short, right?
I have seen The Big Short, yes.
Where it's talking about the housing market, and then you have CDOs, and then you have synthetic CDOs.
Yes.
Like we're functionally creating a synthetic fantasy league at this point, where you can start really impacting. Like, hey, I didn't make the playoffs, but I made my dues back.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a level of like, really two avenues need to be pursued, or one of two, I should say. Either one, we don't allow people to bet on things that they can directly influence. And by that, I mean, like, okay, let's say Evan places a bet on Will to make the playoffs.
Ethan.
He makes a bet on Ethan to make the playoffs. Okay, well, he can now, let's say, again, Evan's roster is really good. Evan makes an unequal trade with, like, maybe a contingency, like, hey, in the offseason, you have to trade this guy back to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're opening that possibility.
Yeah, and so suddenly it's like, okay, well, you are... This can get real shady real quick, or at least the accusations can start ramping up immediately. And so anything that you can immediately impact, we probably need to say no to.
Yeah.
Option 2, which is maybe way funnier, is if we're just like, everyone's super on board with it. Everyone knows what they're signing up for. Let's just go full bore. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, hey, Evan just traded Derrick Henry to Ethan for a 4th-round pick next year. It's like, what are we doing here? But everyone knew that was a possibility, and it's like, well, I kind of signed up to be in that league. Now, I don't think option 2 is realistic.
No.
I don't think it's fair.
No.
However, it's super funny.
Yeah. Yes. Funny now. Maybe not so much later. So with that being said, I'll make an announcement, but I am so sorry. I think it is in best interest of the league, though, for me to refund all the bets that have been placed on Will's playoff odds. Tyler, I believe, bet on himself to make the playoffs. That's an interesting question because he's already incentivized to win.
Sure.
Do we have any issue? Would anyone have any issue with Tyler having added incentive betting on himself? Is that different?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think, and here's been my thought when it comes to sports betting. I've never had, like, there's the whole controversy in the actual NFL of players placing bets on games. I've never had an issue with a player placing a bet on a game for them to win. You know what I mean? Like, if it comes out that Patrick Mahomes is gambling on games and he's only ever placed bets on the Chiefs to win, who's sitting there being like, oh, he had insider information? What NFL, what professional football player is going to the game being like, I think we might win this week, guys? Like, they all should be. They all should be going in every week thinking that they're going to win. So I don't view that as like a problem. I have viewed it as a problem when you're betting on yourself to lose, because you can affect that beyond the reasonable expectation.
So I know you don't have a problem with that, and I understand your argument, but I mean, like Pete Rose did that. He only ever bet on himself to win, and he's received a lifetime. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of people who do feel strongly about that, and I do think once you add in betting into real life sports, regardless of what side it's on, you start to
absolutely
have some uncomfortable, awkward, problematic situations.
Yes, absolutely. I think as far as our league goes, especially in the sense of like, you're not even really in control in the sense of like, I cannot make Devon Achane be out there on 3rd down. You know what I mean? I don't see personally an issue with betting on yourself to win. I don't see personally an issue with taking bets that like you can't affect in any way. Like let's say you and Matt are playing each other, big marquee matchup, and I want to throw $5 on Matt because I think you've got a bum chance against Matt. If I haven't made a trade with either of you since I made the bet and since the line was set and all that, I don't personally see why that would be a problem.
Yeah, it's just hard. I think it's just really hard to litigate, I guess,
Sure.
like what is okay and what isn't okay, because I think there's just, I don't know, I think the best thing we can do is probably leave it up to the league and just kind of maybe have some votes about what's okay and what's not okay. But yeah, for the meantime, Evan, I'm going to refund you the money for Will. Tyler, I think as long as the league's okay with it, I'll probably let that stand. I don't think anyone has any problem with you betting on yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll just have to kind of take. I don't know. I think I might have to come up with some votes and see how the league feels, and because I just don't want this to be turning into something where there are ulterior motives. There's a meta.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for that. So from now on, Max Betting Corner is still going on. I'm still going to add odds. I'm just going to preface before if it's going to be something that actually I'm taking money on or not. If I see it's something obvious that, there's going to be some conflict of interest as far as how you run your team or what motivations you might have, probably won't be, a market that I'm taking. But yeah, anything else to add, John?
No, I think we've said it all.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and give my odds for this week. They are actually in reference to our previous segment, these trades. I have odds that one of these trades goes through without any modifications.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so one of them goes through as is. What would you... I'm curious what you would set it at before I give you my number.
I would say probably something in the ballpark of like 10-1.
10-1 plus 1,000?
Yeah.
Seems low, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be low.
The odds that we were like... Because what's going to happen is someone's going to get an offer and they're going to go, that was the exact offer they said on the podcast, which means they think I'm losing that trade. And they're going to modify it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I made these before I heard your reactions on them
Sure.
and before I heard what your trades were. I set it at plus 600. Probably feels a little low, but that's what I've got. The other line I set was the odds that one of these trades directly leads to a trade going through. Like something that's like very similar, like clearly like this got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
They were inspired by it, but not exactly the same. And I set that at plus 150.
So you're saying like you're almost expecting.
No, plus 150 means
ever so slightly not
like
expecting.
40%.
Sure.
So it's less likely.
But you think there's a real chance
I think
here.
there's a real chance. I really do. I think somebody at least says, "Hey, that makes sense. Like, let's explore that."
Sure.
And I guess that's where it's a little foggy. Like, if they do the general spirit of the trade as far as like the motivations, but none of the players are the same, probably doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll set at 150 if there's a trade that happens in the next week that involves at least one of the players mentioned.
We mentioned a lot of players, but I
did
like
mention
that.
a lot of players.
I like that.
All right, but yeah, that's all I got for Max Betting Corner. I don't know if you have anything else, John,
No.
for this episode. We went a little long today, but there's
Yeah.
lots to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the timestamp. But we appreciate the listen, and, may the best man win.